welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This week we read Parasha Mikeitz, and it coincides with Hanukkah. And by the end of the parasha, we see that the brothers of Joseph come down to Egypt. There's a famine in the land. Everywhere in the world there's a famine. Joseph is the viceroy of Egypt, and he has amassed food. He has stored food for the times of famine because of the dreams he had interpreted to Pharaoh about the 7 years of plenty and the 7 years of famine. And now they're in the 7 years of famine. And the brothers are sent by their father, Jacob, to go down to Mitzrayim, go down to Egypt, to look for food, to buy food. And when they come down to Egypt, they don't recognize Joseph, and Joseph starts mistreating them and asking them weird questions. And he says to them that you're spies, and they're telling him we're not spies, we're these brothers that are coming just to buy some food. And he starts asking questions. Is your father alive? Do you have more brothers? And to make the long story short, Joseph sends them back to their land. He keeps Shimon in Mitzrayim, and he tells them that they won't be able to get Shimon back if they don't bring their little brother. So when they get to Canaan, to the land of Israel, it says that Yehuda said to the brothers, "The man repeatedly warned us, saying, 'You may not see my face without your brother being without you.'" The brothers are telling the father. "If you're willing to send our brother with us, we will go down and buy food for you." The brother there is saying about Benjamin. "But if you are not willing, then we will not go down, for the man said to us, 'You may not see my face without your brother being with you.' And Israel replied, 'Why did you make things bad for me by telling the man that you have another brother?'" And so here in this beautiful book called the Likras Shabbat by Moreno Harraf Benjamin Eisenberger Shlita, he explains to us that Yaakov at this point was beyond himself. Like he had lost a son. Now another son was imprisoned in Mitzrayim. They wanted to take away his little son. There was no food, there was famine, and he's beyond himself. And Yaakov has been suffering from hunger, and now he was being forced to endanger Benjamin and send him to Mitzrayim, and that was for him was terrifying. And he says now he has been forced to endanger Benjamin by sending him to Mitzrayim to face the terrifying pahad of Safnas Paneach. And Safnas Paneach was the name that Pharaoh gave Joseph, which means the revealer of secrets. And here we see that Yaakov is very scared, and it doesn't make any sense that such a tzaddik, such a great man, would have no bitahon and no emunah and trust in God. It's weird. It's strange. So Hassal, our sages, teach in the Midrash that God, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, said about Yaakov Avinu, "I am involved in crowning his son as the ruler of Mitzrayim," and he says, "Why did you treat me with evil?" So here we see that there's the God himself in the Midrash is criticizing Yaakov Avinu, like he should know better than this. He shouldn't be scared. He shouldn't fear. He should understand that this is Hashgacha Pratis. This is divine intervention. God is behind the scenes. So at this stressful time, is an understatement that we would think that with the oppression that Yaakov was feeling at that time, it would be understandable that he feels this way. And according to the Midrash, Yaakov Avinu is faulted by God, by Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem is finding fault in him for perceiving his plight as evil. Like he shouldn't look at what God is doing to him as something evil. He should know better. He should understand that everything comes from God. So let's say what it's trying to tell us here. The Tanaim, the sages of the times of the Talmud, they say that he should have seen the hidden hand of God in everything that was going on, and that it was a lack of Yaakov to even question what was going on. But we see that Hashem lets us see what he wants us to see, and he doesn't let us see what he doesn't want us to let us see. So he was expected to see that in these tragic events, Hashem was crowning his son as the viceroy of Egypt, and also that God in his way had a master plan for Joseph and the whole family, which was really, if we look back, Abraham Avinu, Hashem had told him that his descendants were going to go down to Egypt and they were going to be enslaved. So this is the beginning of the exile of the Jewish people, and Yaakov didn't see it. So it is humanly possible to express such trust and emunah in Hashem. The question is it possible that under such circumstances of so much oppression, when people are so such in a dark place, sometimes we lose our hope. Sometimes we don't see it. We don't see the light. We only see the darkness. So it's telling us here, Rabbi Eisenberger, his question is, can a person face a situation of hopelessness and yet interpret it all as Hashem's beraha? Can you see a bad moment in your life, like what we would consider bad, something that is very painful in our life, and also see it as a blessing from God? Do we have that capacity as Jews? And so it says here that the Midrash, we learn that HaKadosh Baruch Hu demands of us to always see the good in the darkness. It's not even a question if we have the capacity to do it. He demands it from us, that no matter in what situation a person is in, he should always look at the good in the situation, and should always have hope of knowing that even though he's in a very dark moment, the light is gonna come through. So Rabbeinu Yonah in Sharet Teshuvah tells us that not only Jacob, but every Jew should have this capacity. And Rabbeinu Yonah writes that one who trusts in God should sense hope even during his darkest troubles. So what we're seeing here is that at this moment in his life, Yaakov had a lack of faith. That was his problem. He had a moment in his life where he had lack of faith. And sometimes in our lives, we go through these things. Sometimes in our lives, we have to go through such hard moments that we question God and we are upset at God. And that's good, because when we have lack of faith and when we're questioning God and we're angry with God, we still have a connection to God. We still have a relationship with him, and that the darkness itself will be the source of light. Not only the light will take away the darkness, but the darkness itself, look what he's telling here, will be the source of light. And had I not fallen, would I not have risen? Had I not sat in darkness, I would not have experienced light. Every Jew can reach this level of emunah beHashem. We all have it in us to reach a level in which we can understand, even if we don't feel it, even if we're angry, even if we have sorrow in us, even if we are hopeless. We should all have this outlook in life, that the darkness is only there to bring in the light, and that eventually it will come through. And to feel that the pitch black night of misfortune is actually the dawn of brilliant, glorious day of salvation. It's a Yeshua, it's a salvation. And that is what we learn from this week's parasha, which is also connected to Hanukkah. Because in the times of Hanukkah, the Greeks were overpowering the Jews. They were taking away their spiritual connection to Hashem. And nevertheless, there were a few Jews that still had hope and still were strong enough to fight the Hasmonean. And they came through, and with a little amount of oil that would have lasted one day, a miracle was done for them, and the menorah was lit for 8 days. So we should never lose hope, no matter what happens to us, no matter how upset we are with Hashem, no matter how black the moment looks. We should always have hope and understand that that darkness really is only there to bring the light. That's the only reason. And it says that we're in the times of Mashiach, that these moments are the darkest times for the Jews, because right before dawn, the night becomes the darkest. Right before the sun comes out, the sunrise comes out, it's the darkest time of the night. So the darkest moment in life really is just there. It's a threshold for the brightest time of your life. So I wish you a blessed week, a happy Hanukkah, Hag Sameach. Remember, never lose hope, no matter what. And remember, live a little higher. Thank you.